Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Each episode, you'll dive into conversations with top entrepreneurs, visionaries, and business leaders, unlocking the secrets to building profitable relationships that drive growth and success. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, presented by LeDuc Entertainment. Today we are joined by Scott Aaron, who is an award-winning marketer, a LinkedIn expert, a four-time best-selling author, the creator of Linked Leads Generation, and the co-founder of The Time to Grow. Scott, welcome to the show.
So grateful and honored to be here. And whenever I hear my I never know what to say in my bio, because I always feel like it's like, I don't like tooting my own horn, but it's weird to hear some of the things that have been accomplished from, obviously the other side of things. But, facts are friendly, and it's good to show the credibility and what I've accomplished, and just grateful to be here.
That's great having you on the show. I mean, I was going to say, it sounds like you wear a lot of hats. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about The Time to Grow, a little bit about the Linked Leads Generation system?
Yeah. So my wife and I run 3 different businesses together.
Wow.
One, she runs, fully, but obviously I support in the background. One, I run fully with her in the background. And then we have one that we run together. So her company is called BYOB Agency. It's a content repurposing agency for insurance brokers, insurance brokerages, and nonprofits to help them become more visible with a very clear content strategy for LinkedIn. Myself, I have my own personal LinkedIn coaching and consulting company. I call my system the LinkedIn Growth Engine. Basically, it's a 1,000 horsepower engine for lead generation, sales, marketing, branding, from a personal and business standpoint, organically and genuinely done without any spammy tactics. And I have a course, group coaching, and obviously one-to-one consulting. And then The Time to Grow is the company that Nancy and I run together. We work with coaches, consultants, and service professionals, helping them go from the growth stage to the scale stage, and the scale stage to the sell stage in business, really optimizing their LinkedIn strategy, making sure that their website's optimized and they're driving traffic to it. They're growing their email list. They have highly converting lead magnets. We call it the Expert Authority Program. That's our high level mastermind. And we help people take their expertise, highlight them on LinkedIn, giving them that ultimate visibility. And more recently, we've launched our own paid community called the Expert Content Society, which is a paid community that comes with 24 personalized ChatGPT prompts that you can use to create and schedule your LinkedIn content. So if you're struggling with what to say, how to say it, my wife creates 24 personalized GPTs that people can use in the community to create text posts, quote tiles, video outlines, carousel posts, poll questions. So basically you hit get started. It's going to ask you some questions. You answer it with your own verbiage. It takes those answers, puts them into a beautiful post, sends them to you, and then you can post it on LinkedIn yourself. So those are the big focuses that we have right now.
Wow. So when people come to you for coaching, what are some of the pain points and problems that they're experiencing that you're helping them solve? What are some of the hurdles that they're experiencing in their business?
I would say, number one, they're not quite sure how to properly leverage LinkedIn. They see a lot of noise out there and they're really not sure what to be done. But I would say the number one gap that they're having is creating more sales in their business. They're not generating the right kind of connections on LinkedIn. They're not messaging the right way, so it's not leading to any conversations offline. They're not closing sales. And also, they're not creating the type of content that positions themselves as an authoritative figure in the space that they're in. So that's when typically people will come to me and say, help me. I'm literally drowning over here. I'm spending all this time on the platform. Nothing is happening. And that's when I come in and just obviously give them access to the LinkedIn Growth Engine and kind of rev things up and get them put in the right way.
What inspired you to focus your practice on LinkedIn and on that space?
So my traditional background was in health and wellness. I started in the health and wellness industry at 18 years old, almost 19. I had 3 family-owned health clubs. I was a personal trainer, sports nutritionist, corporate wellness speaker, and I did that full-time from 1998 to 2012, 2013, and then more of a part-time basis until I closed my final gym in 2016. And I say part-time basis is because at the end of 2012 into 2013 is when I launched my LinkedIn coaching and consulting practice out of pure necessity. So
Mm.
for me, being a busy personal trainer, I was your prototypical coach and consultant that was trading time for dollars. If I wasn't training someone, I wasn't making money. So how this came about is someone asked me one of the most powerful questions that literally stopped me in my tracks. They said, "Scott, if you couldn't work with someone, physically unable, you couldn't get to the gym, you couldn't use your body, which was my moneymaker, to help someone else, how would you earn income?"
Right.
Now, why that was such an impactful question is because I never thought about my business mortality. I just thought I would personal train forever and I would do this forever. But now that I was thinking about, oh my God, I had just become a dad, I had other people to think about. I needed to start thinking outside of the box because the only way that I knew how to make money was train someone, they paid me. Train someone,
Right.
they paid me. So then I started thinking about conversations I would have with people because people that would move out of the Philadelphia area where I was from, they would always say, "I wish I lived closer, but," or "if I didn't move to a different state, I would work with you." And I was thinking, well, if all these people would work with me in person, what's going to stop people from working with me in the online sphere? So I looked at the demographics of the people that I was working with in person, and they were all business professionals that would come to see me on their way to work to go to the city, during their lunch break, and on their way home from the city, coming home from work. And I said, well, if these business professionals are willing to see me in person, there's got to be a way to connect with them online. And that's when I thought about
Right.
all the different social media platforms. That was LinkedIn. So I jumped on the LinkedIn, changed my profile around, put online wellness coach, online personal trainer, online nutritional coaching. So all online and then specific keywords. So people knew this is what I do. And I started reaching out to other business professionals. And within a matter, I would say, of a couple weeks, I was having 15, 20, 25, 30 calls
Oh, wow.
um, every single week. Now, it's not the same now. Um, it's you could like I still book 5 to 10 calls a week, but it's not at the amount back in 2013. It was a wild west back then. It got a little bit crazy. So, long story short, uh, in 8 months of doing what I was doing, I was able to create the revenue that I was making online in person. And that's when I said, well, if I can create all this revenue online, I don't have to do it in person anymore. So that's when I started to really scale back and put more into the online aspect of things. Then the natural thing that people do is if something is working for you, you want to share it with others. So I had so many friends that were coaches and consultants. They were service professionals, not necessarily in the wellness space. So I reached out to a bunch of them and I said, if you guys are not using LinkedIn, you got to start using it. So one friend in particular that was in sales, he did consulting. He reached back out to me and he sent me a text. He said, dude, call me. So I called him and I said, what's up? And he said, listen, he goes, I don't know what you figured out with this platform, but it works. He goes, I have 14 appointments booked based on what you told me. Didn't even show him. I told him what to do, and he was able to book 14 appointments. He said, you should be teaching this to other coaches, other consultants, people in sales that need leads and all that stuff. I said, what do you mean I should be teaching this? He goes, you proved the concept for yourself and you proved it for me. And I just could not wrap my head around charging for something like that until he said this. He said, listen, you've spent the last 15 years helping people to build healthy bodies. With what you created, you can help people create healthy businesses.
Mm.
And it clicked. I'm like, You are so right. So that was I would say, the birth
Right.
of the LinkedIn growth engine strategy, the coaching and consulting, and now what I've been doing for over 12 and a half years.
What do you think? I mean, in your opinion, what differentiates LinkedIn as a social media platform? I mean, what makes it stand apart from, say, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of those? What is unique about LinkedIn?
Well, I would say Instagram is the reality TV show of social media. Um, you don't even know it's real anymore. Like, literally, people
Right.
could buy 100,000 followers tomorrow. You could buy like and comment bots. Like, you could create such social proof, and meanwhile, the person doesn't have two nickels to rub together behind closed doors, because it's the vanity side
Right.
of things on Instagram. You can't believe anything. Facebook is more on the personal side of things now. You're seeing a huge shift. Yes, Facebook groups still work. Facebook ads don't work as well as they used to. But if you look at Facebook and you look at your feed, it's a lot of people sharing general life, right? Pictures of their kids, their family,
Right.
marriages, births, deaths, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, sweet 16, celebrations. It's the barbecue of social media.
Hmm.
LinkedIn
It's a good
not
way to
only
put
is
it.
yeah, it's a barbecue. It's where people go to hang out.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is the oldest social media platform. Its 25th anniversary is coming up in the next year or two. The beta version launched in 2001, so 2026 will be the 25th anniversary, which is the oldest social media platform. And the way that LinkedIn stands out is that it's for business networking, it's for client acquisition, it's for business branding, it's for visibility. 88 these are some crazy stats, and I always tell people facts are friendly. 88% of people on LinkedIn are in some sort of decision making role.
Hmm.
88%. So that's people from B2B, that's people in B2C. So I have clients that are picking up clients, they're getting large scale contracts, sometimes multiple six figures. The numbers are in your favor. So for every one person that's providing a service, there's 9 that you can provide it to. So the law of numbers are in your favor. When I talk about visibility, I would say that is one of the biggest needle movers for anyone that is looking to showcase their skill set on a social media platform. And here's why LinkedIn is the best. 99% of the people on LinkedIn are what my wife and I called silent engagers. They
Hmm.
they don't do anything. They don't post, they don't engage. Only 1% of the LinkedIn population produces more than one post per week on the platform. So, meaning the 1% that is producing content has the visibility of 99% of the platform. So
Interesting.
all those numbers are in complete favor of what you're doing. So when you talk about differentiating yourself on a social media platform like LinkedIn compared to other platforms, you can't compare. I always tell people, comparing LinkedIn to Meta or TikTok or YouTube or X, it's like comparing apples to bowling balls. You can't compare them. But I would say my two favorite right now that my wife and I are putting most of our time, energy, and effort into are LinkedIn and YouTube. By far, those are the two most amazing platforms for visibility, for know, like, and trust, for customer value journey, for email list growth. And that's where I would tell people to put all their time, energy, and effort. Obviously, LinkedIn number one.
What are some of the common mistakes you see people making when it comes to generating leads from LinkedIn?
So there's a few, and I'll start with the biggest one. Is they violate the LinkedIn user agreement. So
Hmm.
when you sign up for any social media platform, there's a little checkbox, right? You agree to the terms and conditions to use the platform, whether that's Meta, whether that's YouTube, whatever it is. So within the LinkedIn user agreement, and people never read it, and I do. I'm a rule follower, so that's what people need to know. So I read them so other people don't. Anyway, the two biggest things that people are making the mistake is they are using automated software from companies that say they're compliant and they can, that scrape data, connect and message on behalf of that person and their account. That is a one-way ticket to getting your account deleted. And most recently, LinkedIn has finally clapped back at some of these marketing software companies to recently. Seamless.ai and Apollo.ai both are automated software platforms that scrape data from your LinkedIn account and your connections, remove the email addresses, and then drop them into your CRM or email service provider, your ESP, which violates the user agreement. So if any of you watching or listening have ever gotten an email from one of your LinkedIn connections and you're wondering, how did they do that? I didn't even give my email address to this person.
Right.
That's how they're doing it. So LinkedIn has clapped back finally, kicked people off. So don't use any automated software that connects and messages and scrapes data for you. That is a one-way ticket. The second thing I would say along the lines of that is what I call pitch slapping on the platform. So if you've ever accepted someone's connection and then a few minutes, a day, a week later, you get an 18 paragraph long drunkalog verbal vomit message of someone trying to sell you and pitch you into their program, book a call. No one likes to be pitch slapped. No one likes to be spammed. No one, that is also a one-way ticket to literally killing any credible potential relationship from a business perspective you would have had with that person. I always tell people, if you're going to reach out to someone, reach out to them the way that you would want them to reach out to you, right? How would you like someone to reach out to you? So my wife and I call it the smell test. If you're typing up the message and you read it and it stinks, don't send it. Send a message that you yourself would respond back to get on a call offline. So I would say those are the two big issues I'm seeing right now and mistakes that people make on LinkedIn.
So, I mean, you talk a little bit about the smell test, which, that works perfectly into what my next question was going to be, is what are some of the strategies that business owners can utilize to sort of create that human connection in a digital space?
A number of things. So if we're talking about messaging, I have a wireframe that I teach people. And when you're messaging someone, I break it down into a couple of different components. The first component is a warm opening statement. Hey Scott, it's so great to be connected to you. Not saying, dear Scott, comma space, indent, next paragraph. How's business treating you? It's too professional. I know that sounds crazy. It's too professional. It's too stuffy. It's too spammy. Just humanize yourself. Hey Scott, it's so great to be connected to you. The second way is what I call, you have to lower the drawbridge. Now, I'm from the East Coast. I'm in Jersey. So if no one is familiar with what a drawbridge is, a drawbridge literally is when boats are passing canals and bypasses. The bridge literally breaks in half, folds up so boats can go underneath. And your job is to lower that drawbridge so you can build the connection and rapport. So what you want to do in the second part of the message is you bridge the gap by creating a connection point between you and the other person. So never, ever connect with someone that you can't mention a connection point with and to in a message. So it would be, hey, Scott, so great to be connected to you. I noticed that you were also in the coaching and consulting space and you had a podcast. Would love to hear how things are going with you. Share more about what I'm working on and how we can support each other here on LinkedIn. Now, what that's doing is it's creating a way to lower the wall of resistance and raise the level of connection, because I've stated very clearly to this person what my connection dots are. So when the person is reading it, they'll be like, oh, that makes perfect sense why he wants to reach out to me. He's also a business coach. He's a business consultant, and he has a podcast. So I would like to hear what he has going on, because there could be some synergies here. But I also used one of the most important words in the English language that evokes emotion from a positive standpoint, and that is support. There have been studies done that when someone actually reads and says support in their head, it triggers their brain to release one of our brain chemicals called oxytocin. This is our feel-good brain chemical. So again, it's another way to lower the wall of resistance and raise the level of connection. The final step is finishing with a CTA, a call to action. Statements lead to nowhere. Questions lead to answers. You have to ASK to GET. You have to ask
Mm.
in order to get. So if you want to get more calls, you have to ask for more calls. So I would simply finish with, do you have any time this week or next week to hop on a call or a Zoom? The last thing that you want that person to see is a question mark, because when they see the question mark, they're going to respond with an answer. So as long as people are messaging people in that genuine fashion, outside of everything else that you can do by optimizing your profile, connecting with the right people, and producing value-added content, you want to build rapport off the platform. All social media platforms were created equal in the sense that they are all rented land. We don't own them. You don't own your followers. You don't own your connections. You don't own any of it. So you need to figure out the most streamlined way to get that new connection from on the platform, off the platform, on a call, in your email listserv, and in your CRM, in a very compliant way to build the know, like, and trust and build the rapport over time.
I hope everybody out there listening is taking notes. I feel like I should be taking notes right now. I mean, this is all just such valuable information you're throwing out there. Just casually dropping wisdom, on a Tuesday.
Just sprinkling it, wherever people want it.
So I'm curious. So say that I'm a business owner and I am just launching my LinkedIn page today. I'm going to LinkedIn. I'm getting it started. What are some strategies that I can utilize to sort of going from being invisible on the platform to garnering some visibility and attention?
So a couple things come to mind. Number one, making sure that your profile is set up with the perspective of if someone was to stumble upon it and visit it. It's very clear what you do, who you work with, and what you provide. So when someone goes to my LinkedIn profile, my background banner says, the LinkedIn sales and marketing strategy for coaches and consultants, right? So as soon as a coach and consultant goes to my profile and they see that banner, they're like, oh, well, obviously that's what he does. And I need a sales and marketing strategy. I want to reach out to this guy. But what people fail to remember is that LinkedIn is a giant search engine. So it's all SEO optimized. So you need to make sure that you have the right keywords listed all throughout your headline, your about or summary section, and even your experience section. So the easiest place to do that is the headline. So you would mention things that your ideal client would search for, right? So
Right.
it would be sales expert, client acquisition coach, or business coach, business consultant, podcast host. You mention all the things that if someone put in sales acquisition expert, guess who would pop up? My profile. So you have to optimize your LinkedIn profile first and foremost so you appear in the right searches and you have the right people visiting your profile. The second thing, I alluded to it, making sure that you connect with the right people. So there's two types of connections that you want to have on LinkedIn: potential ideal clients and business allies or power partners. So you need to search for, from an industry or professional title perspective, who you would best serve if they accepted your connection request, wanted to get on a call with you, and spoke to them. So for me, using myself as an example, I would search for business coach or business consultant, right? Those are my ideal clients. And I would send out a batch of connections every day. I would invite them into my network. And then if they accepted the connection, I would follow up with that little warm message that I went over just a couple minutes ago. The second type of connection would be a business ally. Much like you, I would search for a business podcast host or a marketing podcast host or a social media podcast host, because those are people that would be willing not only to be a guest on my podcast, but if I could be a guest on theirs, that's going to give me instant credibility to their audience. So making sure that you're bringing the right people into your network where you can form collaborations, but also potential client acquisition opportunities. And I would say third and final is producing content that's from a thought leadership perspective that solves your network's problems. If anyone reads any of my content on LinkedIn, and I do text posts, I do short form video, I do LinkedIn Live, I have a LinkedIn newsletter that's approaching 10,000 subscribers, I do carousel posts, poll questions for market research. Every single thing I post is from the perspective of plugging in to the holes and gaps and the problems that my clients or potential ideal clients have, and how can I solve that with giving them value added commentary in those different forms of content. So everything that you should be posting on LinkedIn should A, solve your client's problem, B, position you as the go-to person, and C, show that you're a giving person. You're not looking to sell and pitch. You're looking to give in order to get. And the best way to build know,
Right.
like, and trust is to provide nothing but value every single day that you're on the platform.
Well, and that goes back to that concept of support, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't expect people to work with you if you're not willing to give them something first. One of the most intimate experiences for a person is to make a monetary transaction with someone else. And think about anything that we've ever purchased, any car, right? A house. We want to get to know that real estate broker that we're working with. If we're going to go buy a car, you better believe we're going to do our research on the car. We're going to test drive that car. We're going to go to a couple different dealerships to see what's the best deal I can get before we say yes. It's the same thing when you're looking to acquire a client. You have to give. You got to give in order to get. And the way that you give is through your content and through just getting on the call with people. And I always tell people, or they always say, am I selling on these calls, Scott? Am I pitching this person? I'm like, no, you don't pitch.
Right.
Build a relationship first. It's not
Right.
that hard. Just be a human being. Don't be weird. Just get on a call, get on a Zoom, find out about them. Questions lead to answers. Ask questions. I always use this analogy. We have two ears and one mouth for a reason, right?
Hmm.
Ask more, talk less, and listen as much as you can.
Right. Now, we've talked a little bit about LinkedIn and your business there, but I want to dig a little deeper. Best-selling author, podcast host. Can you speak a little bit about your books and a little bit about your podcast?
So I've written, I think, 6 books at this point. Five on my own, one with my wife. So I've written a number of LinkedIn best-selling books. The most recent one came out in 2022. I have a 3rd edition coming out later this year. It's called The LinkedIn Book for Sales and Marketing. All of them are available on Amazon. My wife wrote a best-selling book 2 years ago called How to Build Your Personal Brand on Social Media. It's a beautiful book. And then together we wrote a book called The Feel Good Business Model. So this book is based on how we've grown and scaled our business to have a flexible schedule of only working 3 days a week and doing more in less time, and how others can do it the same way. And having a book is it's a great thing for any business owner, because you can reach a much wider audience. It gives you automatic credibility, because to become an author, to put yourself out there, anyone can read your book anywhere in the world. But also it acts as another lead magnet to build know, like, and trust, because if you write the book the right way, you have the right calls to action. And I've picked up clients from people reading my book because they read it. I direct them to a website to go for further resources, and guess what? They book a call, they get on it, read your book, I want to learn how I can work with you. And before you know it, credit cards being handed over. As far as the podcast goes, I'm approaching 1.2 million downloads. I've had the podcast. Thank you. I've had the podcast for almost 7 years. November will be 7 years. So it's not overnight. So it's one of those things where it's the first, I would say, 4 years, it didn't slug along. It grew incrementally, where I was getting to about 10,000 listens a month. It's only in the last 3 years that it's basically shot to the moon, averaging 35 to 50,000 listens per month at this point. And I also have over 700 episodes released. So there's a lot of content out there. So it was actually my wife's inspiration to start the podcast, because I had no intention of having a podcast. And we were in the car taking a drive one day, and we were listening to Russell Brunson's podcast at the time. And it was like 4 minutes long. And I turned to her, I'm like, that's a podcast? I said, it was only 4 minutes. And she said, well, yeah, like a podcast can be as short or as long as you want. Robin Sharma's is actually shorter. It's like 35 seconds long. He gives a quick little nugget and then he's done. And I said, well, I could do that. And I did. Coincidentally, I was on YouTube the same day. Gary Vaynerchuk at the time was promoting a platform called Anchor.fm, which has now become Spotify for podcasters, completely free. And I actually started my podcast from my phone. I
Oh, wow.
literally downloaded the app here. I got obviously my headset and I recorded right on my phone. And I released 50 episodes just myself once a week for 50 episodes. So almost a full year of just me. And then I started interviewing people. And I'm now in my 7th year and I love it. I still do 2 episodes every single week. And it's something that also adds instant credibility. You have to understand people are searching online all day long, every day. And you want to have as many ways of people to find you as possible, whether that's
Right.
through your website, your social links, your podcast, your book. And if you have all those things in place, it pretty much has become impossible for people not to find me at this point, which is exactly what I want. I want to be very searchable. I want to be very easily connected to and with. And that's why I continue to do what I do.
When you think back on all of the clients, businesses that you have helped, sort of establish that authority, got them, through this LinkedIn lead generation system. When you think back on all the clients and businesses that you've helped, is there one that stands out in your mind that you could share with us of a client or a business that you really saw a positive transformation in as a result of your help and guidance?
So, there's a number. I'm blessed to have about 525 written recommendations on my LinkedIn profile, but there's
Wow.
always one that comes to mind. It's a good buddy of mine, Jeremiah. We've been working together now, oh my God, like 3 years, almost 4 years now. And within about 6 months of us working together, so he's got a podcast called The Conscious Contractor. He's in the midst of creating his lead magnet to build his email list, and he's doing a lot of great stuff. So he basically does masonry reconstruction. He does tip pointing. He does a lot of bricklaying work, and he bids on a lot of residential and commercial jobs, but centrally located in the greater Detroit area. So it's a very, very, not only a niche business, but a niche location.
Right.
We were in a mastermind together, and he said, "Do you think you can help me get more bids for contracts out there with people on LinkedIn?" And I said, 100%. Because the great thing about LinkedIn is that you can build whatever type of network that you want. And I told him this. I said, "Listen, we can connect with every property manager possible that's in the greater Detroit area. And you can connect with them, you can message them the right way, and you can get in front of more people because you can filter by city, you can filter by state." And within about 6 months, it took him, like, he was getting little contracts along the way. In the 6th month of applying my strategy, he closed, still to this day, and he's had his company for 15 years, the single biggest contract ever. And it was close to $400,000 contract just from that
Wow.
one bid. And that's just one of many examples. I have another client that I'm working with right now. He sold his company for 8 figures. So he now teaches other CEOs and founders how to scale to sell, specifically in the manufacturing space. And he was a guest on my podcast. And this is going back almost 7 months ago. And he said, "Well, how do you work with people? I need to learn how to gain client high," because his coaching is multiple 5 figures a month, or multiple 4 figures a month. And I said, "Yeah, I can teach you." So within 4 weeks, he landed, I think, 3 separate high-paying clients, and he charges anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000 a month, and now he's fully off and running. So I tell people, full transparency, full honesty, the only way that my strategy doesn't work is if you don't follow it. If you're willing to put the time, the energy, and the effort into it, you're going to see the fruits of your labor and the fruits of your efforts.
Well, Scott, this has been an absolutely fantastic conversation. If anybody out there listening could use your help, could use your coaching, could use your guidance, would like to read some of your books, would like to check out the podcast, where can the people find you? I'm guessing you're on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I am on LinkedIn, so you can first and foremost find me there. You can just search Scott Aaron Coach. I'll come right up. My podcast is on all major listening platforms. It's called Networking and Marketing Made Simple. If you go to Amazon, just type in Scott Aaron LinkedIn. You can find all my books there. And if you want to visit either of our websites, my personal website is scottaaron.net. And then our company website is thetimetogrowcom, and would love to hear from you. And anything that we can do to serve and help you, don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been awesome.
Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate the opportunity.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Partnerships for Profit presented by LeDuc Entertainment. Scott, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.